Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Girl in the Woods. Last episode. 15. Chapter 124 to 130. Sarah's POV. After my date with Andrew, he dropped me home. The date went well, he didn't try to make any move on me. It was mostly like two friends hanging together. He said we have to get to know each other well. Actually, he knows many things about me, but I literally didn't know anything about him. I was cautious not to make any mistakes and not to let him know about our plan. Also, I was on alert if he says anything that can be useful for us. I know what I was doing is evil. He trusts me and loves me, but I am totally cheating on him. But he had left me no options. I just wish he will turn to a better person soon, and I can stop this awful act. Shane was there when I come home. His face was glowing, and the happiness in his eyes was hard to ignore. What happened? Did you find anything? I asked. Not that much. But I have to tell you something else. He dragged me to his room. What is wrong with him? Whatever he has to tell, it must be happy news. Luke said he wants to start a relationship with me, he said as soon as we entered his room. I was astonished for a second. Then next second, my eyes started to fill with happy tears. Oh, my God! I hugged him, screaming. I am so happy for both of you. I knew Luke will understand you one day. I said. So. Tell me what happened. I asked, breaking the age.ug. Then he explained to me what happened. I was smiling while listening to him. I can't remember a day I smiled that happily recently. This is the most wonderful news I have heard after a long time, Shane. You both deserve each other, I said. I don't know if I deserve someone perfect like Luke. But I am going to try my best. Shane said. I have no doubts, you two will have a happy life together, not just two of us, you will also have a wonderful life with Jake. We will do everything we can to make sure that. Shane said assuringly. Shane gave me the photos he took. Those were letters written by Andrew to his beloved Lily, but not when she was alive. Therefore, those letters were more like a diary, but he was just saying his feelings to Lily. In the first few letters, it was all about how much life has become hard for him after her death. Honestly speaking, my eyes were also filled with tears when reading his words. In one letter he has written, I can't live without you, I want to come to you, my angel. But how can I leave my mom? His words clearly indicates how much he loves his mom and Lily. I don't know how such a sensitive person could become this cruel. He has written another letter, on the day he first came to our university. I never thought I would find someone who can move my heart ever again. I was stunned by how much she resembles you, my angel. She is so charming and beautiful in her own way, just like you. I think I have started to love her. I feel like you came to my life again, he has written. I am sure after finishing these letters, I am going to feel guilty more than I can endure. There were a few more letters he wrote after meeting me. In all of them, he was explaining how much he loves me and how much he hates Jake because I am in an affair with him. Why he gets everything in life, everything I wish to have, he has all of them, in one letter he has mentioned. Poor Andrew. On the day we went to Jake's dad's birthday party also he has written a letter. She looked like an angel. I felt so bad to make her sad, but do I have any other option? I can't let him have her as well. He has written. I feel you, Andrew. I really can understand your feelings, but don't you think it is unfair to separate us to get what you want? I quickly went through the rest of the letters. In most of them, he was trying to justify his actions. His last letter was written after Jake's accident. She is helpless. She agreed to marry me because she loves Jake so much. I think after getting married, she will understand me, and change. Anyway, I am happy I don't have blood in my hands, yet I could get what I want. What did he mean by no blood in his hands? Was he trying to kill Jake? Since Jake's life is secured, he thinks he doesn't have blood in his hands. You are wrong, Andrew. My Jake suffered that much because of you, his blood is clearly in your hands. Indeed, I sympathize with you. Life was so cruel for you, but you have no right to act like this. Keeping the phone down, I released a sigh. We couldn't get basically anything from his house, so what should we do now? This is complicated than I ever thought. Our university vacation period was also over, and lectures started. Jake also came for the lectures, and he was always trying to talk to me. It was super hard and painful to avoid him. Both Shane and Luke did their best to help me avoid Jake. However, one day, when I was in the canteen, I met him. I had finished eating and stood up from where I was sitting. Suddenly, Jake came in front of me out of nowhere. I was caught in between the table and him. There was no escape. Jake, let me go, I said in a whisper tone. No. You can't keep on ignoring me like this, princess, he said in his usual tone. He seemed to have no intention of doing this without getting attention. The canteen was filled with students at that time. In no time, we were started to get their attention. Everyone must be wondering what everyone's Prince Charming has to do with me. Jake is not someone who talks with girls if it is not related to some academic stuff. I have never seen him talking with any girl in the canteen. He always maintained a distance from girls. So, what is happening right now is something extraordinary, so I can't really blame the people who gathered around us. Jake. People are watching us, let me go, I said again in the same whisper tone. I want them to know, then he said. What? What do you want them to know? I asked. That you are mine and mine only, then he said and hugged me tightly. I didn't even get time to realize what has happened. All the people who were around us started making surprising noises. Has he gone crazy? I clearly heard someone ask. Actually, who can believe Jake would age.ug someone so negligible like me? Isn't this what I want from the day he revealed his feelings to me? To let everyone know that he belongs to me. How unfortunate am I? When he did the exact thing I wanted, I am not in a position to enjoy it. I have to reject him, reject his affections towards me to protect him. Jake. Are you insane? I yelled at him, wriggling against him. Of course, I am insane. I can't lose you, even thinking about that makes me crazy, he replied, tightening his hands on me. You can't lie to me, Sarah. I know you love me and you know I can never cheat on you, he then said. Jake, we don't have to talk these here, I tried to talk some sense to him. Why? I want to let everyone know that I love you so much, and I can't live without you, he said loudly. Jake. Stop this madness, I again tried to escape from him. Then stop me from getting mad, Sarah. I know you agreed to marry that B.D. Patterson because he threatened you with my life, doesn't he? When he said Patterson's name, everyone again made noises. Jake, what are you doing? I am not letting you marry him, Sarah. I would kill myself if you try to marry him, believe me, then he said, making me even forget to breathe. Right at that time, someone pulled Jake. Whoever that person is, he is not as strong as Jake because he couldn't make Jake break the age.ug with his force. However, Jake broke the age.ug by himself and turned around to see who it is. Though he broke the age.ug, he still had one arm around me. We both looked at the person who pulled Jake. As I suspected, it was Andrew. God! Why you let him come here at this exact time? Where Shane and Luke are? If they don't come soon, it is going to get really unpleasant. Without giving us any time to think of anything, Andrew slapped Jake. How dare you touch my fiancé again? Andrew shouted at him and slapped him again. Andrew! Stop this! I screamed. But he was not ready to listen. People have even started to video everything. Well, from their side, this is something juicy to share. A university lecturer slapping a student because of another student who is his fiancé. Also, the student is not just a normal student as well, he is the only son of the current president. How dare you threaten my Sarah and force her to marry you? Jake was not ready to accept Andrew's violence today. I didn't threaten her. It was Sarah who called me to come to her house and told me that she will marry me in front of her parents. Andrew said, grinning. Jake holds Andrew from his shirt collar. I am going to *G kill you, Andrew. Jake started to shout. Jake, please, I pleaded, but Jake was also not ready to listen to me. Really? Are you going to take your president father's powers now? Andrew also shouted at Jake. I don't need anyone's power to kill a stupid BD like you. Jake screamed furiously. Of course, I am a BD. Go and ask your dad why I am a BD. Andrew yelled. What? What should I do now? Thank God, Shane and Luke came to the scene right on time, and they could separate Andrew from Jake. Shane took Andrew away, while Luke took Jake with him. One of our other lecturers also came, and he made all the students who gathered around us to leave. I don't know how this incident would be settled. This is not something simple. Our dean would take disciplinary actions against both, right? Also, now, the whole faculty knows about this. I don't know how it would make Andrew feel. More than all these, I was worried about Jake. I would kill myself if you try to marry him. His words were echoing in my mind. I know how much he loves me, he can make any sacrifice for me. So what if he actually tries to harm himself? On the other hand, did Jake notice what Andrew said finally about asking from his dad? If he noticed it, don't know what he thought about that. What should I do now? Why Jake? Why you became this aggressive? You always work with a lot of patience, and you always give a lot of thoughts to everything. I can't even believe you acted like this. You made this whole thing even complicated. That day evening, Andrew came to our house and threatened me. He was furious, and he didn't try to hide it. Ask Jake to leave you alone, or I will not let him escape this time. There is no doubt he truly meant that. I took a conference call with Luke and Shane. I told them about Andrew's warning. Who thought Jake would do something like that? Anyway, we have to act really fast. Luke said worriedly. We have literally no progress. I don't know what we should do, I said. Whatever we are doing, we have to do it before Jake does something utterly stupid, Luke said. What if we go and talk to Jake's dad directly? Shane asked. What are we going to tell? We know nothing exactly. Luke said. Well, we at least know Mr. Patterson is not Andrew's real father. Also, we know Jake's dad is aware of it, and he doesn't want to let Jake's mom or Jake know about this. So, we can pretend like we know who Andrew's real father is, and try to get everything out from him. If we can't find anything on Andrew, then we should at least try to get Mr. McMiller's support to solve this, right? Shane said thoughtfully. Wow! That's a great idea. We can actually try it. We are not going to lose anything. I will go and meet him tomorrow morning. Let's see if we get lucky this time. Luke said. Chapter 125. Jake's POV. Why did I lose my temper like that? I have never done something so stupid. My life has become a complete mess. I am not even aware of what is happening around me sometimes. Words are not enough to describe how heartbroken I feel. Mom got really worried because of me. She said she will talk to Sarah if I want. But I don't think she can do anything because even Dad couldn't change the way Sarah thinks. Dad was also so concerned about me, but at the same time, he was asking me to make up my mind and move on. From his side, what Dad asks is totally fair. He tried his best to give me what I want, what else he can do? I was trying so hard to talk to Sarah, but all my efforts went in vain. She kept on ignoring my calls and messages. Also, when I tried to speak with her at the university, she, however, managed to ignore me. Even Luke and Shane are supporting her to ignore me. When I asked Luke about that, he said we should respect her decision. What is that? I don't know what's wrong with him. When everyone is making it impossible for me to talk to Sarah, I had to use that one opportunity I got to speak to her. When I go in front of her, I totally lose my control. We both wanted so much to let everyone know about our affair. I think even more than her, I want to tell everyone that she is mine. I got to say that today, but not the way we both expected. Also, it didn't make her happy as I thought. However, I only made the problem worse. Luke also scolded me for the way I behaved today. He is scared that Andrew will try to do something for me. I don't care about the risen risk for my life, but I am afraid if Andrew will try to get the revenge from my princess. I couldn't even think about what should I do next. I can't lose her. I can't even imagine how my life would be without her. After a lot of thought, I decided to go and meet Andrew. I am not going to fight with him this time, but I will beg him. I will do anything he asks me to do. I will beg him to give my Sarah back to me, taking anything else he wants from me. Luke's POV. I called Uncle Victor and arranged a time to meet him. I said to him I have to discuss something so important to him. I don't know if this plan is going to work, but I am going to give my maximum to it. I can't see my Jake in a miserable state like this. Don't get me wrong when I say my Jake. I know he does not belong to me, and it is never going to happen. I am not thinking about it either. I love Shane and want to lead a happy life with him. But Jake has this special place in my heart that no one can ever change. No one can even compete for that place. Also, I am so scared about Jake's life. Who knows what that BD would do? If anything happens to Jake again, I don't think I can be able to forgive myself forever. Praying God to make our plan work, I entered the Uncle Victor's room. What do you want to talk with me, Luke? Showing me the chair in front of him to sit, Uncle Victor asked. I want to talk about Jake and Sarah, I said. There is nothing to talk about them, Luke. I tried to change that girl's heart, but I couldn't. What else can I do for them? He asked. God! How he manages to lie this simply. I couldn't even believe if this is the same person who always taught us to be honest. I will get to the point straight. I know you didn't put any effort to help their relationship. I said, looking right into his eyes. His eyes widened with shock. "What are you trying to say?" he asked. "I know Andrew threatened you to separate Sarah from Jake. So that's what you actually did. But you managed to play the best dad's role in front of Jake," I said. I don't know where I got the courage to speak up to him. Since I was young, I was always scared of him. It was even hard to look into his eyes. "Who said so?" "Sarah," he asked angrily. "She didn't tell me a thing. But I got to know about this," I said. "Luke, don't try to create unnecessary problems," he said annoyingly. "I am not creating any problems, Uncle. But I know how much Jake loves Sarah. He can't even think of his life without her. He thinks you are supporting him, but when he got to know how you tried to separate his beloved Sarah from him because you are scared of Andrew, he will decide what he should do." "Luke, stop lying," then he said, but his voice was not in the same dominating tone as usual. "I am not lying. I know Uncle Patterson is not Andrew's real father. I know he has threatened you, saying he would reveal his real father to Auntie Jennifer and Jake," I said. "What?" he exclaimed. There is no doubt he was shaken by what I said. He fell into a quick thought. I guess he was trying to think about how could I know about these things. "What do you think they will do if they got to know Andrew's real father?" I asked then, pretending like I know Andrew's real father. "Andrew's real and only father is Patterson." "I don't know what you are talking about," he then said. "Okay, you are now denying it." "Really? If you are so sure about that, you don't have to worry about what I am telling Jake about Andrew's real father," I said. "There is nothing you can say." "What are the proofs you have?" he then asked. "I have the screenshots of your chat history with Andrew." I put the trump card. I have never seen him this shocked. He will see how Andrew has blackmailed you. After seeing that, it won't be hard for a smart guy like him to find out the rest," I said. "Aren't you the best friend of Jake? Why are you going to make him worry?" he asked. "I am his best friend, not just that I am his brother. That's why I am going to tell him the truth." "But Uncle, I am giving you one chance. Do something to stop Andrew from hurting Jake, make sure Jake won't have any troubles from Andrew again. Then Jake will never know a thing that has happened between you and Andrew," I said. "You can't blackmail me, Luke," he yelled. "Okay, Uncle. Then you will have to answer Jake and Auntie Jennifer," I said, standing up. He didn't say anything. God! Our plan didn't work. He was not ready to accept anything. What should I do now? "Do you know who is Andrew's real father?" he asked when I was about to open the door to leave. Thank God! Of course, I do. Otherwise, I won't come here today, I replied confidently. "Who is it?" he asked. I think he is pretty sure I don't know the real answer. Well, he is correct. But I can't let him win. "You," I said, "whatever happens next, at least I tried my best." His face changed so quickly. He released a long sigh. "If you know that, can't you even think about the pain they both might get?" he asked. God! So he is really Andrew's father? How can that be possible? I know it will be painful for them. But I am not ready to let Jake lose his Sarah," I said, holding the door handle. I could feel our plan is going in the right direction. So I have to be strong. "What should I do to stop you from telling them?" he asked in a pleading voice. "I have already said what you need to do," I said. "I am talking to the current president of our country, right? As people feel no pain when they were anesthetized, I didn't feel any fear at that time. But I know when I remind about this incident later, I would be scared to even think about it. Why can't you understand? I can't do that, he asked helplessly. Then, you may sit and watch what I do, I said. Luke, come and sit, then he said. For what? I don't have time to waste. I don't even know what stupid thing Jake has done when I am here. I said. If you want to tell Jake everything, please listen to this first, then you can decide what you should do, he said. I don't want to listen to anything, I said firmly. Please, he said again. The way he said made me go back and sit. First, I must say I have never cheated on Jennifer. All these things happened before I get married to her, he said. Andrew's mom is a famous actress. I can't tell her name. However, I got to meet her at a party, and we built up a connection. Our connection went too far, and we became lovers so quickly. We both didn't let anyone know about our relationship. But unexpectedly, she got pregnant, making everything complicated. She was working so hard to make her identity in the film industry, so she didn't want to keep the child. I didn't want to go for an abortion, but I couldn't force her for anything. So we decided to go for an abortion, but we were late to do that. We didn't know what to do. I knew my dad would never let me marry her. I was the heir to most of his wealth because my sister got married to Patterson without his permission. On the other hand, she also didn't want to marry me. She wants to go back to acting as soon as she delivers the child. However, I told everything with my sister to release my pain. Making me shocked, she said she wants to adopt the child. Then only I got to know she is not capable of giving birth to a child because of a complication in her womb. I was actually so happy to let her adopt the child because it was my blood, my first child. If she adopts the child, I knew I could see him and look after him well. So we said everything. With Patterson as well to get his permission. That is the most terrible mistake I did in my life, but at that time, he was a really good person, and I trusted him with my life. He agreed without even thinking twice. So Liz acted like she is pregnant since no one knew about her inability to bearing a child. We had no problems. After giving birth to Andrew, his mom left for the USA. Liz brought up Andrew so well, like her own son. I supported them as much as I could. However, after some time, Patterson started to cheat in our businesses, and I had to take action against him. To get revenge from me, he said Andrew about his real parents, not just that he said Andrew that we tried to do an abortion also. Since then, everything started to change. Andrew started to hate me and Jake. He hates Patterson as well, but his love for Liz never changed. He loved her so much, I don't think a child would be able to love even his real mother that much. Finishing his long story, he looked at me. Well, how can we blame Andrew? From his side, he is right. He has all the right to hate Uncle Victor. Both Jake and he are Uncle Victor's sons, but there is a clear difference in how they were treated. It is usual for him to feel jealous of Jake. It is completely the fault of Uncle Victor and that SHTTY woman. Their irresponsible behavior made Andrew suffer for a lifetime. How can I go against Andrew? I have done everything for Jake, what have I done for Andrew? Andrew doesn't have anyone with him either. But Jake has me and his mom. Even more than Andrew's threats, my love towards him made me help him. Uncle Victor said. I was completely silent. God. When I agreed to come here, I never thought I would have to face a situation like this. I don't know what should I tell now. I have no words to describe how much I hate Uncle Victor right now. His actions have made Andrew suffer a lot, now he is going to make Jake suffer. Right at that moment, his phone rang. He checked the caller ID and answered. "What?" he yelled and stood up involuntarily. "How is he? Where is he now?" he asked with a trembling voice. I don't know why, but with his voice, I felt something really bad has happened. "I am on the way," then he said, cutting the line. "Someone has shot Jake," he said, looking at me. God! It is 2 a.m. already. Who feels sorry for Andrew? Chapter 126. Luke's POV. "Someone has shot Jake," the Uncle Victor said, looking at me. I was thunderstruck. Couldn't even find words to ask anything I wanted to ask. "He is being admitted to the hospital. His condition is not very bad," then he said without me asking anything. Thank God. But how can I bear it when Jake is in continuous danger like this? Do you still want to shut your mouth and do nothing? I asked angrily from Uncle Victor. He looked at me helplessly. I don't care what Andrew has to go through in his life. All these things happened because of you and his selfish mom. Jake or Sarah has nothing to do with that. Aren't you the president of the country? Can't you even take responsibility for your actions? You must do something and stop your elder son, or I will make both of you suffer. I said firmly, and I meant every word I said. Sarah's POV. I was lying down on my bed and praying to God to make our plan work. If Luke convinces Mr. McMiller to help us, that would be our victory. Sarah, with Shane's scream, I ran to the door. I think Luke has called him after his discussion with Mr. McMiller. I opened the door quickly. I got shocked just by seeing Shane's face. Jake got shot without letting me asking anything, he said. I felt like my heart crushed. My legs felt like jelly, and I leaned to the wall. If God really existing, he must save my Jake because he has done nothing wrong. He is totally innocent. Sarah, Shane put his arm around me and hold me. Don't get too worried. Jake's condition is not that worst, he said, trying to calm me down. Why, Andrew? Why you hate my Jake this much? Why do you want to see my Jake die this much? Where is he now? I asked in a broken voice. He is being admitted to the Queen's Hospital. Luke called me just now. He said he is heading to the hospital. Shall we also go? He asked. I want to be near my Jake more than anything. But my staying in the hospital is not going to help him. I have to do something more important right now. I can't let him in danger like this. You may go, Shane, I will stay, I said. He looked at me wondering. What are you going to do now? He asked. Nothing. Don't worry about me, Shane. You may go now and call me when you get to know about his status. I said. Are you sure you are fine on your own? He asked again. Of course, I am, I replied. Shane left for the hospital right then. After that, I quickly changed clothes and took a taxi to go where I want. I am outside, I took a call to Andrew, standing in front of his front door. Within a minute, he opened the door for me with a surprised look in his face. I entered his house and walked towards the living room. I know what I am going to do is stupid, but I was ready to do anything right now to protect my Jake. Why, Sarah? He asked, following me. I turned to him. He was looking at me confusedly. How can he stay so innocent even after trying to kill Jake for the second time? Andrew, I said his name. Yes, he said again confusedly. Why you shot him, Andrew? Didn't you promise me not to hurt him? I asked. Sarah. I didn't shot him, then he said in a broken voice. How dare he lie now? Stop lying, Andrew. Just tell me why you did that? Is it because Jake made a scene in the canteen? Or is it because I refused to sleep with you? Sarah, he yelled. Tell me, Andrew, what is the reason? If it is the incident that happened in the canteen, I apologize to you. I will do everything to prevent that kind of incident again. I said. You don't have to apologize, I have forgotten that. Then he said. Then what, Andrew? Then is it because I refused to have sex? Take anything you want, Andrew. Do anything, I cried and started unbuttoning my blouse. Just as I said, I am ready to do anything to protect my Jake. Even to submit me to Andrew, for the rest of life. What are you doing? He shouted. I am doing what you want. I said, continuing unbuttoning my blouse. Sarah. Stop this madness, he yelled. I don't want to stop, Andrew. I am willing to give you anything. You wanted to have X, so let's have. I don't want to learn, work, or anything. I will be your slave and stay inside these walls without even talking with anyone else. I will do anything, Andrew. I said. I was front of him. But I didn't feel embarrassed. I value Jake's life more than my dignity. Sarah. Stop. Andrew said, walking towards me. I don't want to stop, Andrew. Take anything you want. Make me anyone you need. Just leave my Jake alone. Please. Don't hurt him again. Breaking to tears, I fall down to the floor. Please, Andrew. He is innocent. He has done no wrong to you or anyone. Please, don't play games with Jake's life, Sarah, he said gently, but in a worried tone. He took my removed blouse from the floor and bent towards me. Then put it on my shoulders to cover me. Put this on, he said in a broken voice. But I didn't do anything, I continued weeping. Then he sat in front of me and made me look into his eyes. My eyes were blurred with tears, but it was not hard to see the worry and confusion in his eyes. I have nothing to do with this, Sarah, believe me, he said. Well. His eyes were also saying that he is telling the truth. But how can I believe him? I know it is hard to believe me, but I got to know about what has happened just before you come here. One of my people called me and informed me, he said, still looking to my eyes. You tried to kill my Jake once, Andrew. How can I believe you are not behind this too? I said. You can believe me, Sarah, because I have never tried to kill Jake. Then what you tried to do by that accident? That was a fatal accident. Jake was so lucky he could save his life, I said, angrily. I can't believe how he is trying to be a good person now, after doing all the evil things. I don't know what the purpose of that accident, Sarah, is. Then he said after a small pause. What do you mean? You planned that, but you don't know the purpose, how come? I didn't plan that accident. I have nothing to with that. Then he said, looking away. What? Why you lie, Andrew? You accepted you did it. I screamed angrily. I couldn't bear his innocent act anymore. I am ready to give him what he wants, so what he is doing now by acting so righteous. Didn't you tell your partner in crime Marina that you would do something to my Jake? Also, didn't you threaten Mr. McMiller basing that accident and revealing about your real father? I screamed at him without even thinking twice. He stared at me for a few seconds without even blinking. Then only I realized I just told him almost all the things we found out about him. I don't know how you got to know those, Sarah. Indeed, I told Marina I would do something to Jake, but when I said that and also when I threatened you before the election, I just meant something like using some people and beat him up. I just wanted to make him stay in the hospital for a few days and use it to blackmail you and Uncle Victor. I had no intention of killing Jake. Well, I wish there is no Jake in this world, so I can have everything that I have missed in my life, but I am not that strong or evil to kill him, Sarah, he said. His voice was calm and steady. I feel he was telling nothing but the truth. But then why he accepted everything? Is he mad? I wore my blouse back. I felt ashamed about what I did, but that made Andrew tell the truth, right? However, I should mention one thing. He didn't even try to look at my all this time. Then why you accepted everything? I then asked. Well, when I heard about the accident, I tried to find out who was behind this. But I couldn't. Then I thought about why I am not using this opportunity to get what I want. I was not that confident about my idea, but it worked pretty well. Even Marina thought, I actually did that, he said. I remembered the text Marina sent him, threatening to reveal his true face if something happens to Jake. Also, I remembered how he has written in one of his letters to Lily that he could get what he wants without having blood in his hands. So, he must be telling the truth. After all, he hasn't done anything to harm Jake. Then who tried to kill Jake all this time? I felt even more scared. If it was Andrew, I could at least do something to stop him. But now we don't even know who is behind all these things. So how are we going to protect Jake? I am going to the hospital, you wanna come? Then he asked, making me shocked. Why are you going there? I asked. Just to see him. He said. They are not letting me go near him, I replied. Don't worry about that. I can take you, he said. I looked at him, wondering how he changed this much this quickly. Luke's POV: I was in the hospital with Uncle Victor and Aunt Jennifer. Shane was also there, but he was not allowed to come near the ICU. Jake's condition was not serious. Fortunately, the bullet missed any of his internal organs. Since he was hospitalized before he bleeds a lot, doctors said he will recover soon. However, I was furious with both Andrew and Uncle Victor. What if that bullet did severe damage than this? Uncle Victor was trying to soothe Aunt Jennifer. I felt so pity for her. She was crying the past few days because of Jake's accident. Even before those tears dry out, she has to cry again. I don't know what she will feel if she knows Uncle Victor can stop all these things, but he chose not to. I went out of the room. We stayed to see Shane. I have to give him the latest update about Jake. Shane walked towards me as soon as he saw me. He looked so worried. I explained to him Jake's condition. I was about to tell him about my discussion with Uncle Victor when I see Andrew is coming in our direction. I couldn't restrain my anger anymore. I ran to him before even Shane realized what I was going to do. How dare you come here after trying to kill him? I hauled Andrew from his shirt and screamed. Luke, he was trying to talk. But I was not ready to listen. What revenge are you going to take out of him? What he has to do with the way your parents treat you? I screamed. Luke, calm down. Shane said, holding my hand. But I was not ready to calm down. We endured all their drama this long. But it seems like they are never going to stop. You and your real father must go to hell. I yelled. Luke, stop. I heard Sarah screaming coming towards us. I am not going to stop, Sarah. After trying to kill our Jake, he dares to come here. I screamed again. Luke, he has nothing to do with this incident," then Sarah said, making me stunned. "Has she gone crazy? If it is not him, who it is?" "What?" both Shane and me asked at the same time. Then she explained to us everything she got to know from Andrew. I was looking at Andrew the whole time, his face was covered with nothing but regret. "But how can this be possible? I don't believe him, Sarah. He gets to inherit great wealth if something happened to Jake, you know why it is?" I asked. All three of them stared at me. "Because this is Uncle Victor's elder son," I said, keep on looking at Andrew's face. Chapter 127. Sarah's POV. "Because this is Uncle Victor's elder son," Luke said, keep on looking at Andrew's face. "What? Is what I heard the truth? How can that happen? How can Andrew be the son of Mr. McMiller, then who is his mom? Let's go there, I will tell you everything," then Luke said, still looking at Andrew. Andrew didn't say anything. He was so calm. All four of us went to a corner. Then Luke explained everything he got to know from Mr. McMiller. Andrew didn't interrupt Luke even for once. He was just looking away emotionlessly. However, after Luke ends his explanation, my heart was aching for Andrew. I thought I have the worst destiny, but what I had experienced when compared to him. Though my parents didn't treat me right, they sacrificed so much for me, and especially they didn't give up on me. But his biological parents, they chose to let him go because they value their professions, their social statuses more than him. "You still think he is not responsible for what happened to Jake?" Luke asked. "Yes, I think so," I replied, looking at Andrew. I was 95% sure Andrew has nothing to do with Jake's accidents. "Don't be silly, Sarah. If it is not him, who is then? I think he wants to kill Jake, so he can become the heir to all the wealth of Uncle Victor." Luke was not ready to trust Andrew at all. Andrew didn't even try to say anything against Luke. "I don't think so. Luke, what we need to do right now is use our full strength to find out who is really behind all these," I said firmly. "Are you sure about what you are saying?" Luke then asked. "Of course. Don't forget, not just Jake, but Jake's mom and Lily, all of them faced terrible accidents. I feel there must be the same person behind all these," I said thoughtfully. All three of them looked at me with surprise. "We don't have much time, guys. Who knows what that person will try to do next? Let's hurry up. Luke, you can go to Jake's dad with Andrew and explain to him everything. He is the president. He will surely be able to find everything," I said. "Do you think Uncle Victor didn't try to find information until now?" Luke asked. "Until now, we all thought it is Andrew, so we didn't try to find out more about these accidents. Even with Mr. McMiller, this must be the reason why he didn't try to find more," I said. "Also, now Andrew is here to help us," I said, looking at Andrew. "He has never agreed to help us, and I know how ridiculous it sounds. But my inner instincts were telling me that he is ready to help us now." Both Luke and Shane looked at Andrew. Andrew looked at me and nodded his head slightly. "I think God has answered my prayers. Andrew is entering the way to become a good person, isn't he?" Andrew's POV. "What caused me to change this much, you must be wondering. Well, even I don't know exactly. Earlier today, Jake came to meet me. I was surprised to see him at my doorstep. 'I didn't come to fight with you, please let me in,' he said, as soon as I opened the door. After what has happened in the canteen, I was furious with him, but I let him in. I sat on the sofa, and he sat in front of me. 'Andrew, I don't really know why you hate me this much. I don't know if is it because you think I am behind Lily's accident or is it because of Sarah, he said. Both of them and many other reasons, brother. I thought, but I didn't turn them to words. Andrew, believe me, I have nothing to do with Lily's accident. Just think what I can gain from killing her. Of course, you have everything. Everything I ever need, so what else you wanted? You just wanted to destroy my happiness. Since we were young, I always tried my best to support you with everything you do, didn't I? Don't you remember how many times I took the responsibility of things you did, just to save you from getting beaten from Uncle Patterson? When you wanted to keep your affair with Lily a secret, didn't I help you do it? He asked. His words actually brought me to the past. The past I had totally forgotten after Lily's death. My dad was very strict since I can remember. He never let me do anything I love. I think he hated me as much as Mom loved me. When I was young, he used to beat me even for a small thing. So, most of the time, Jake took the responsibility of all the mischievous things we did as kids. Even when I started my affair with Lily, I wanted to keep it a secret from Dad because I was afraid of how he would react. Even then, Jake is the one who helped me. I loved Jake just as my own brother, I was also ready to do anything for him. Those days, I didn't know why Dad hated me that much. But later on, Dad told me everything about my biological parents. He told me how they tried to kill me when I was in my mom's womb. He told me how they chose their professions, their family's pride over me. If it wasn't for my mom, I mean the mom who brought me up with so much love, I would be ended up in some orphanage. Since then, I started to hate all of them, except my mom, Liz. I started to feel jealous about Jake for everything he has in his life that I also should have. I feel jealous for all the moments I have observed how much our dad loves Jake. I envy about times when he introduces Jake as his own son in front of everyone, while my dad totally neglects me. Making the situation worse, Lily died. After that, I became a totally different person. Jake didn't know any of these, he thought I changed because of Lily's death. So he tried a lot to be with me and make up my mind, though I keep on avoiding and hurting him. Don't you remember any of those, Andrew? Jake asked again since I was silent. You didn't come here to make me remind those things, do you? I asked, hiding the fact that I got emotional. I came here to ask you why you hate me. I promise I have nothing to do with Lily's death. But if you hate me this much because of Sarah, please understand, I haven't done anything wrong there too. I started to love her a few years back, she is also the same. We have started our relationship even before you first saw her. So tell me what I have done to make you angry, he asked. What can I say? He is right. They were in love when I first come to the university. Actually, it is me who came between them. Please, Andrew. I am begging you. I can give you anything I have, but not Sarah. I can forget about my happiness, but her happiness lies within me. She will never be able to be happy if I am not with her, he said in a pleading voice. I know that, Jake. I know her happiness is based on you. But she will learn to find her happiness in me after we get married. I know her more than you do, Andrew. She is not someone who changes her feelings. If you marry her, she will stay with you but as an emotionless corpse. I can't see her like that, Andrew. I love her so much. She is my life. I can give you anything else I have. I will not even think twice to give you all the wealth I am going to inherit, but please don't take Sarah away from me. What do you think of me? Do you think I value money over her? I yelled at him. No, I didn't mean it like that. I know you love Sarah too. That's why I am asking you this. Please don't put her in a lifetime misery. I am begging you, Andrew. One day you told me, I would have to come to you on my knees. Well, I am coming to you on my knee now. Take anything you want from me, but give me my Sarah back. He falls into his knees in front of me and pleaded. I have never seen him this helpless. I know he loves her, but this much. Jake is someone who highly values his pride. I couldn't even believe he went on his knees for his love. I started to feel guilty. Therefore, to hide that, I chased him out of my house. He begged me multiple times, but I didn't listen. However, after he left, my mind was filled with all the memories I had with him since I was young. I couldn't get rid of the guilty feeling. Then I got a call from one of my men that Jake has been shot. I couldn't understand what to do. I was extremely nervous. What if something happens to his life? I pretended like I was responsible for his accident, so everyone will suspect me for this as well. I don't really know who is trying to kill him, but now it has become serious than I imagined. Sarah also came to meet me at that time. As I thought, she suspected me for shooting Jake. I tried to tell her that I have nothing to do with that, but she was not ready to listen. She, who strongly refused to have sex with me until we get married, started to unbutton her blouse while shouting at me to take anything I want, and leave her beloved Jake alone. No need to tell how much I would love to see her and ached. How much I have imagined her like that in my dreams. But at that time, I didn't feel any lust at all. I didn't even want to look at her. I was ashamed of myself. She was ready to do anything, sacrifice anything, even her dignity and freedom for her love. Earlier, Jake was ready to sacrifice anything for Sarah, and now she is ready to sacrifice anything to protect Jake. This selfless love of them reminds me of my sweet Lily. I will sacrifice anything if I can get her back, won't I? I got super emotional at this moment, and that made me confess everything with Sarah. I think that is the same reason why I am here in front of my biological father to save my half-brother Jake. I would refer to my biological father as Uncle Victor because that is what I'm familiar with. Luke explained to Uncle Victor that I am not responsible for any of the things that happened to Jake. The relieved look on Uncle Victor's face after hearing that was hard to miss. However, after then, the most critical problem we had was to think of possible suspects. Maybe there is a connection with Lily's accident and Aunt Jennifer's accident to these incidents, Luke said. Uncle Victor fell into thoughts after hearing that. I tried to find information on those accidents, but I couldn't find anything. Then he said, Andrew, why you thought Jake and Uncle Victor has something to do with Lily's accident? Then Luke asked. Well, I said, trying to recall everything. I got a letter nearly a month before the accident, an anonymous letter. It said Jake and Uncle Victor is going to make me cry shortly. Other than that, there was no information. I didn't care about that much. But after a few days, I got another letter. A few photographs were also included. Jake was there in those photographs with another man. The letter said I should remember the guy with Jake. Like 2-3 days after I got the letter, Lily accidentally saw those photos on my reading table, and she asked who is that? I explained to her what has happened. Then she said she thinks this man has been near her house. We got concerned after that and tried to be careful, but I couldn't protect her. I said. So you thought, actually they are behind the accidents because of those letters? Luke asked. I started to think again with his words. Then I remembered something. Actually, it is strange how I didn't think hard about this before. According to the situation I was in, I believed that, but more than the letters, it was Dad who put that thought into my mind. He made me believe that, I said. Chapter 128. Victor McMiller's POV. I felt happy because Andrew came clean on everything. Otherwise, what should I do? How can I put one of my sons behind the bar to protect the other son? Or how can I bear it when one of my sons keeps on hurting the other? I feel sad about Andrew. He lost his girlfriend and also Liz. He tried to blackmail me and get what he wants because he must be feeling lonely. Maybe it is Sarah who can help him get out of that loneliness. That's why I agreed to let him have her, knowing that it would break Jake's heart. At least, Jake has all of us by his side, Andrew has no one. Though I agreed to give Andrew for adoption, it is not what I really wanted. When I started a relationship with Maya, Andrew's mom, I was so naive. I haven't had an affair with a girl before that. I always focused on my studies and work. When I think about what happened back then, I think she actually seduced me. She was such a beautiful and straightforward young woman. Those days, many guys wanted to get close to her, but she didn't pay any attention to them. She thought about them as a headache. However, when it comes to me, her attitude was totally different. Even when I didn't pay much consideration towards her, she kept on coming after me. Finally, I fell in love with her. I don't still know whether she loved me too, or she just used me. My father was a successful and very famous businessman even back then. Also, he has power over most of the politicians too. She made me use my father's contacts to establish her name in the film industry. Like a fool, I did whatever she asked. I was totally captivated by her. When she said she is pregnant, I was kind of happy, though I knew my dad is not going to allow this at all. I did not want to go for an abortion, but she insisted that she is not ready to be a mom. So, I let her do what she likes. However, God saved me from doing a terrible sin. Doctors said we are too late for an abortion. So, we had to keep the baby. Since she got pregnant, her personality started to change. She became a totally different person, or maybe that is how she really was. She said she do not want the child. I was also bound by my family responsibilities. My dad was upset because Liz married Patterson, going against his wish, so I couldn't make my dad bothered anymore. Also, how can I bring up a kid all alone? Fortunately, Liz came to my help. I had no doubt she will be an amazing mother to my son. I don't even know how it happened, but Andrew looked a lot like my sister. So no one suspected Andrew's real parents are not them. I supported Liz and Patterson as much as I could. Patterson didn't have many qualifications, yet I gave him a high position in my businesses. I helped them financially a lot. I wanted both my son and my sister to stay happy and comfortable. I knew Patterson didn't love Andrew that much, but I didn't want to intervene in their lives and create problems. I knew Liz loves Andrew with her life, so I was fine with that. After some time, I married Jennifer, who is an amazing woman. When compared with Maya, Jenny is a real goddess. She is humble despite her profession or her family background, and she is very supportive and caring. Since I got married to her, I never cheated on Jenny, even from my thoughts. But I was always feeling guilty about what happened in the past. I thought it is better to keep everything a secret from her. However, most of my problems raised because I hid it, isn't it? If I could tell Jenny about Andrew, most of these problems will be solved. However, I am scared now. I don't know who tried to kill Jake. They tried to kill him twice in a very short period. Who knows what they will try again? I will use my full strength to find this out. Earlier I had no particular aim or suspects, but now with Andrew's confession, I have an idea what should I do. I strongly suspect Patterson is behind this, even if he is not the mastermind, he has something to do with all these. This time I will not let him escape. The photographs Andrew said he received some time back, we used those to track the person who was in those photos with Jake. We could catch that person with a lot of effort. He said he was just paid to roam near Lily's house for a few days. Then we asked about those photographs. He said he was paid to take an interview from Jake. Those photos were taken during that interview and when they were hanging out after that. Other than that, he didn't know anything about any of those accidents. But we could find something much important from him, that is who paid him to do these things. Therefore, we could have some kind of a lead. We continued our search with that, and finally, after a lot of effort, we could find a person who has some responsibility towards this. When we found that person, I was so sure Patterson is also behind this because that person is one of his men who got suspended from my company. After we caught him, we could question him. It was not an easy or nice task. But I strongly believe to kill the bad, you have to be the worst. Finally, we could get Patterson's name out from him and let the police arrest Patterson. We also got to know that they were behind Lily's accident and Jenny's accident as well. I wanted to kill Patterson as soon as I heard that, but with the years of experience, I knew that is not the solution to my problems. However, it was so hard to control Andrew after he got to know about this. I don't blame him. He has the right to act like that. But I couldn't let him get in trouble. So with the help of Sarah, Luke, and Shane, I could stop him doing anything stupid and make him agree to hand over Patterson to the police. I think all our problems are solving little by little. However, I asked Andrew to take any decision. If he feels like I should tell Jake and his mom about him, I promised to do that. But he said he didn't want that. He said he didn't really want to make Jenny sad. My mom will never forgive me if I do so, he said finally. Andrew's POV: I swear I would kill him if Uncle Victor and others didn't stop me. I know I am not a good person, but how can a person be that cruel? How a person could kill someone so innocent as my Lily? How can he make someone so caring like Aunt Jennifer a lifetime handicapped? However, I asked Uncle Victor to let me talk to him after he got arrested. I wanted to ask him why he did all of these things. Making me promise I won't do any stupid thing, he gave me permission. But Patterson refused to talk to me. I have no words to tell how much guilty I am. I was totally fooled by my so-called foster dad, and I hate other people without any reason. He didn't just kill my Lily, he is the main reason my mom died so soon. But for all these things I was blaming other people. Poor Jake. How much he had to suffer because of me. I don't even want to think about how Sarah was feeling. She has nothing to do with any of these dramas, yet she is the one who had to suffer the most. But she didn't think twice to support me in this difficult time. She tried her best to stop me from doing any stupid thing. I don't know how she can just forget about everything I did and act like this. She is truly an angel. Finally, I made the decision. I need a break from all of these. I have to get away from everyone for some time. I think it will help me heal the wounds in my heart. I told my decision with my real dad, Uncle Victor. He was not ready to let me go. But I insisted I need this. He told me he would tell all the truth about me with Aunt Jenny and Jake. But I said to him I don't want that. I have suffered a lot in my life. I thought making other people suffer would give more relief, but it is not like that. Hating others and trying to harm them only made me miserable. I don't hate Uncle Victor as well. Maybe I do the same thing if I face the same situation. Also, if anyone wanted to abort me, it was my biological mom. Uncle Victor didn't tell me who is my real mother, I didn't ask about that too. What is the purpose of knowing that evil woman? However, before leaving, I had to do a few things. Begging forgiveness from everyone. I even went to Sarah's home and met her parents. I explained everything. I told them about Jake and Sarah too. Also, I pleaded them not to make my little angel sad again. I met both Luke and Shane and said goodbye. Then I went to meet Sarah. I met her at the same restaurant we went for a date. When I told her about my decision, to my surprise, she got really sad. I don't know what type of girl she is. Shouldn't she be happy to get rid of me? How are you going to spend time all alone, Andrew? She worried. Uncle Victor got me an offer at a university there, also our company has a ranch there. I will be occupied all the time, so I won't feel lonely. I said. No matter how much work you have, when you come home at night, you will feel alone. Why can't you just stay here? She asked again. I want to spend some time alone, Sarah. I have made enough trouble for people. I want to let my heart heal at its own pace. Also, I said, looking at her beautiful eyes. Without even knowing, I released a long sigh. I am going to miss you a hell lot, my angel. Also what? She asked. Also, I am still not ready to see you with Jake, Sarah. I truly love you. Seeing you with someone else is not easy for me. So, I don't think I can stay here seeing both of you together every day, I told the truth. Only God knows how much it is hard for me to leave her. I wish I meet you earlier, Sarah. Much earlier. Even before you got any feelings for Jake. So, you are not going to come back? She asked with tears in her eyes. I will come back. When I could find someone like you to spend the rest of my life, I said. Tears were running down from her beautiful eyes. Can I give you AH.UG before I leave? I asked. Without saying anything, she gave me AH.UG. A really long warm H.UG. Which is enough for a lifetime. Now I have to say goodbye to Jake only. Jake was still in the hospital as doctors found internal bleeding. He had to go through surgery, and he was still not recovered. Doctors asked us not to make him worry about anything. So we didn't tell him anything that happened. So, I thought of just ask him to forgive me and then leave. I met the doctor in charge and took permission to meet Jake. He gave me permission but asked me to not make Jake tired. As the doctor said, no one is there with Jake in the room, so I entered the room without knocking. There was a nurse beside Jake's bed, and she turned to me as I entered the room. She got panicked as she saw me and that made her drop something which was on her hands. I felt I have seen her somewhere, but couldn't recall. Thinking where have I seen her, my eyes traveled to the floor to see what she has dropped. She suddenly bent down to pick it, but I saw it was a syringe. The doctor didn't tell me there is a nurse inside. Also, she got really packed and dropped the string as she saw me. I felt something is wrong. I ran to her, clasped her arms, and put her down screaming, "Who are you?" Chapter 129 Andrew's POV Andrew, please stop, she screamed as I put my leg over her and forced her down. How she knows my name? She cannot be a real nurse. There must be something. Jake was in a deep sleep, and I didn't want to wake him up. So, I closed her mouth with my palm and dragged her out of the room. She tried a lot to escape, but I was much stronger than her. After I pulled her out, I screamed for help. Doctors and some other medical staff hurried there panicked. "Who is this?" I asked while gripping her arms. It seemed like none of them know her identity. I saw Uncle Victor coming forward through the crowd. His eyes were first focused on mine. He was so panicked. Then he shifted his eyes to whom I was holding. "Maya!" he exclaimed, making me astonished. "So that fake nurse who tried to inject poison to Jake is my mom. The woman who carried me in her womb for 9 months and gave me birth. I know carrying a child in the womb is not an easy task, also giving birth to a child is one of the hardest and most painful things. A woman has to go through so much pain, both physically and mentally. So this woman went through all of them for me. So, do I feel love about her for that? Don't think about me as a monster, but I don't feel any love towards her. If doctors didn't say it is too late, she would have killed me. She wanted to kill me. She gave birth to me because she has no other options. Even after that, she didn't want to bring me up. She gave me away as soon as I was born. I have heard a mom should feed her newborn as soon as he was born, as the first portion of breast milk contains many nutrients that could protect the newborn and enhance his immunity. But she even refused to give me that. So, why should I love her? However, I wanted to talk with her. I had to ask a lot of things from her. As soon as Uncle Victor recognized her, he took both of us to a room. After telling me who that woman is, he asked one of his men to come and tie her to a chair. "Why you tried to kill my son?" Uncle Victor asked furiously. He was literally burning from anger. "To make our son the only heir to your wealth," she replied calmly. "What? Why she dragged me to these sins? Really, Maya? Did you remember our son just now? Where were you all these years?" Uncle Victor demanded. "I was here for many years, paving the path for our son to reach where he deserves," she said, looking at me. I looked away. What Maya thinks of her, trying to act the best mom role. "What do you mean?" Uncle Victor then asked. "Do you really think that fool Patterson is capable of doing all these alone?" she said, laughing. Not just me, Uncle Victor also got surprised. We both looked at each other. "You evil bit," Uncle Victor slapped her so hard. "You tried to kill my wife and my son, not just that you killed that innocent girl Lily," he screamed. "So, it was not Patterson who killed my Lily, but my mom. Why she continuously tried to make my life hell. Of course, I did. It is a shame why I couldn't succeed in killing your loving wife and son," she replied with a crooked smile. "What wrong they did to you, BH?" Uncle Victor screamed again. I have never seen him this fired up. Even when we caught Patterson, he didn't act like this. "You and everything you have should belong to me and our son," she said. "Wow! You tried to kill those innocent people just to be rich. You must be the most sinful woman on earth," he screamed again. "I don't want to stay there anymore. Uncle Victor also has some responsibility for everything that happened. They can fight as much as they want after they finish, I just have to ask a few questions from her." I stayed outside the room until Uncle Victor come back. He came after like half an hour. "I am going to hand over her to the police," he said, looking at me. "Then she will confess about your relationship with her," I said. "I don't care any more about that, Andrew. Hiding it all these years was the biggest mistake I did. I made everyone suffer," he said. "But it can affect your image as the president as well," I said. "That's okay. More than anything, I value Jenny, Jake, and you," he said, emphasizing the word, you. I didn't reply. Without putting her behind the bars we will never be able to live peacefully. She is burning in jealousy and anger, he said. Can I talk to her, before you call the police? I requested. He nodded, giving permission. I entered the room again. She was still tied to the chair. Her hair looks messed, and she looks so tired. But as soon as she saw me, her face lit up with a smile. My Andrew, you have become so handsome, aren't you? She said. God! How dare she start a casual chat with me like this? Maya, I cleared the throat and started talking. Her face changed as I called her by her name. What does she expect? To call her mom? That's never going to happen. There is only one mom for me, she is now dead. I want to ask a few things, will you answer them honestly? I asked. I have nothing to lose now, son. Your dad will never let me get out of this, so I don't have any reason to hide anything, she replied. You are behind everything that happened? I asked. I did everything to give you a comfortable life, darling, she said. How did you make Patterson agree to execute your plans, ignoring her? I asked. She then laughed like she has gone mad. When I meet him first, he has lost his job and totally hopeless. Making him agree to work for me was just a piece of cake. She said. YUK, LLED Lily. I asked the main question I wanted to ask. I can understand why he tried to kill Aunt Jenny and Jake, but what has my poor Lily has done? She is not a matching girl for you. I wanted to make you the heir to McMiller family's great wealth. Do you think a girl from a poor family like her matched to a powerful guy? She asked casually. So, UK, LLED her because of that. I was so close to losing my control. How ignorantly she talks about other people's lives made me even mad. I knew you will not stop that stupid affair otherwise. I think you have a thing for poor girls, Andrew. You were about to marry another poor girl, weren't you? She asked. Were you planning to kill her as well, woman? Your life depends on the answer you give now. No. There was no need for that. Once Jake is dead, she will surely leave you, I had no doubts about that, she said, smiling. I wish I can choke her to death. But she doesn't deserve a quick death like that. She must go to jail, suffer, and die. Do you have more questions, Andrew? She asked since I was silent. No. But I have to tell you something. I said, standing up. She gave me a confused look. You did all these things, not for me. You are just jealous, and you hate Uncle Victor for having such a perfect life. You used me as an excuse to ruin his life. Anyway, I am glad I got to meet you because you proved I am fortunate. After all, you left me. Otherwise, I won't be able to grow up with the love and care of my wonderful mom, Liz, I said, finally. Shane's POV things changed so quickly. A week earlier, we were just blindly looking for evidence against Andrew, but now, we have arrested the true culprits and make sure we all are safe. Andrew left the city, and I truly wish he may find someone with whom he can share his life with. Jake also got out of danger, and we revealed him everything that happened. I think knowing there is no restriction for him to be with Sarah now, made him recover so fast. However, we all got exhausted with everything that happened. We barely got sleep. We didn't even have time to eat properly. Also, I and Luke couldn't get some alone time for so long. Therefore, we planned to spend tonight together. So, this is going to be the first night we are going to spend as lovers. I was so exciting. I have spent countless nights with different people, but I have never been this exciting. We met at his house. We first had dinner together. Then started watching a movie cuddling to each other. Shane, I have to tell you something. Luke suddenly said, when I was embracing his warm cuddle to the fullest. I replied without paying much attention. Then he pulled away from me and made me look into his eyes. What? I got scared. I have to tell you something, he repeated. So, I don't know how you will feel after hearing this, Shane. But I have observed how hiding things from the partners creates so many problems in people's lives. So, before we take our relationship to the next level, I thought you should know this. Luke said. You make me scared, Luke. Tell quickly, when you first confess your feelings towards me, I couldn't respond to you because I love someone else, he said. You love someone else, or you loved someone else? I asked with a shaking heart. I love you and someone else too, he said, looking deeply into my eyes. Without even knowing, I exhaled a long sigh. Is it Jake? I asked. His eyes got widened. How do you know? Luke, I love you. I have observed you very closely, each and everything you said or did. There are a lot of times, I felt you have some special feelings towards him, but then I shook off those thoughts, I said. I don't know when I start to love him, Shane. But it feels like I have feelings for him for my whole life, he said. But you said you love me as well, right? I asked. Of course, Shane. I love you. I love you so much. My love for Jake has become a part of me now. He has a special place in my heart, not even you can touch. But I promise you, Shane. I don't want to have this kind of relationship with him. When I see you, I feel like I want to hug you tightly, kiss you deeply. When I see you, I make dreams about life with you. Those things don't happen with Jake, he said gently. If you have even a tiny place for me in your heart, that's enough for me, Luke. I don't care about anything else. Anyway, I am glad you share these things with me. You showed how much you truly concern me. I am so lucky to have you in my life. Without letting him speak anything else, IKSSCD his L.P.S. RKSS got intense quickly, and within a few seconds, we have even started ressing each other. When we managed to reach his bedroom, we both were ready to make the night ours and take our relationship to the next level. Chapter 130 The End. Jake's POV 6 years later. Stefan. I woke up to that shouting. Though that shouting made me wake up, that is one of the most loving shouts I have ever heard. Closing my eyes, I listened to that again. Stefan. Shouting continued for a few seconds more. This little buddy should be hiding once again. I got down from the bed, planning to catch my little bunny from where he was hiding. I caught him. He was hiding under the small table in the pantry. He giggled as I found him, but I put my palm over his little mouth and hushed him. Let's go see Mama, I whispered to my little champ. Carrying him on my shoulder, I walked to the living area where my favorite person in the whole world was shouting for her baby boy. I closed her eyes gently. Stop playing with me, Jake. I don't know where Stefan is, she said, annoyed without even turning to me. When I close her eyes from her behind, she never needs to turn around to recognize me. She can always identify me from my smell. Mommy, here I am, Stefan giggled, sitting on my shoulders. She turned around, and her face lit up as she saw the smiling little bunny. You teamed up with Daddy to make me scared, she asked. No. I was hiding. Daddy found me. Stefan replied. Then she took Stefan from my shoulders and cuddled him to her. Hest, why were you hiding, little bunny? Because mommy and daddy can find me, he replied quickly. He surely has a sharp mouth just like me. Okay, now we have found you. Give mommy a big kiss. As soon as she said that, little Stefan put his tiny arms around her neck and gave her a long kiss. Where is my kiss? I asked. While he was still in his mama's arms, he put his arms around me and gave me a long kiss too. His action drew his mom closer to me. Putting my arms around her, I pulled her even closer. I cuddled both of them to my Hest. I gently kissed both of their heads. She gave me a small kiss to my Hest, making me smile. This is my world. My Princess Sarah, well, she is my queen now. And my cute little Prince Stefan. What else I need in my life, other than these two cuties in my arms? Cuddling them to my Hest like this made me recall how much we had to go through to own a day like this. I remembered the time I was in the hospital after someone shot me. Andrew came to me one day, and he said he is going to leave the town. He also apologized to me for everything he did. You are right, brother. Sarah's happiness lies within you. I don't want to destroy her happiness. I wish you two all the best for a happy future, he said before he left. At that time, I didn't know anything about what Uncle Patterson and his mom had done. If I knew all those things, I would never let him go. After going through so much in his life, he needs to be with his loved ones. But when I got to know everything, he was 1,000 miles away from us. After I got totally recovered, Mom and Dad came to me. Dad explained to me everything that happened when I was not well. He also said to me the truth about Andrew's parents. Forgive me for hiding everything from you, Jake. I didn't want to make you too worried or feeling disgusting about me. Can you forgive me? Dad said at the end. I looked at Mum. She was so calm and having a small smile on her P.S. What you think, Mom? I asked. Your dad has never done any wrong to me since we started a relationship, Jake. What happened before that is not my concern. Also, I am sure, if Andrew's mom wanted to keep him, your dad would surely support her with that, no matter how hard it is, she replied calmly. She is a great woman. I don't think most of the women think so openly like this. The way she empathizes with people is outstanding. If Mom can forgive you, Dad, I can forgive you too, I said, smiling. On that same day, Dad told me that they have no objection for me and Sarah. Mom was loving Sarah so much already. She got to spend time with Sarah when I was in the hospital. She has such a beautiful soul. I am proud of your choice, baby, Mom said happily. When I got discharged from the hospital, the first thing I did was go and meet Sarah's parents. Andrew had already told them about Sarah and me. They had no hesitations to our relationship, instead, they were over the moon when I go and talk to them. Mainly, Sarah's mom. We got engaged soon after that. We both graduated with a first class. Sarah became the badge top as well. Luke also secured a first class. Shane put all the efforts for his final research and final exams, so the guy who was in academic probation earlier could graduate with a general degree, which was so close to a second lower. After graduation, we four got together and started a software engineering consultation firm. Shane works full-time there while Luke and I spend most of our time for our firm while taking care of our family businesses also. Sarah wants to make her career in academics, so she got a lecturing position in our faculty. No matter how busy we were, Luke, Shane and I didn't give up football as well. I got married to Sarah a year after we graduated. We both wanted a simple wedding. My parents were totally okay with that, it was only Sarah's mom who showed an objection. But finally, she decided to let us have it on our way. By that time, her parents have changed so much. I don't know if it is my addition to the family that made them change like that, but they started to love and take care of Sarah. Even when Shane came out to his parents about him being gay, they were okay with that. So we had a simple, yet beautiful wedding which felt like a fairy tale. Only close relatives and friends were invited. We wanted to invite Andrew as well, but he was in the USA for some research work. Both Sarah and I had to suffer a lot in our lives, we rarely got any time to spend with each other. So, we thought of travel around the world, taking a break from all our responsibilities. Sarah had never left the country, so I wanted to show her the world. So our honeymoon became a very lengthy one. We traveled to many countries and enjoyed as much as we wanted. We had nothing to worry about, we were free like birds. After we come back from our tour, we got this marvelous news about Luke and Shane's marriage. Luke came out to his parents right after his graduation. At first, his parents were not okay with that. They didn't show a serious objection, yet they were not happy as well. So Luke and Shane decided to give them some time to heal themselves. However, at our wedding, we didn't have a bridesmaid, but we had two best men. Luke and Shane. During the wedding, I think Luke's parents understood how adorable Luke and Shane look together, also, they understood how happy Luke is when he is with Shane. So, they decided to give their blessings to Luke and Shane. 6 months after our wedding, they got married. If both of them were not there with us, when we were having so many problems, I don't think we would be able to end up together. They sacrificed a lot for us. They committed themselves without any hesitation for us. They proved what friendship really means. They proved to us who a good brother really is. Therefore, the day these two tied the knot, was one of the happiest for Sarah and me. After 2 years of being married, we decided it is high time for us to extend our family. Then came our little bunny, Stefan. Stefan was such a cute little bundle of joy since the day he was born. As Sarah says, he is just like me. She is so confident that one day when he grows up, he would be exactly like me. However, since he was born, he became our entire world. He brought a lot of happiness and love not just to two of us, but for his grandparents and his uncles too. Everyone, including my dad, always finds time within their busy schedule to spend time with Stefan. Especially Sarah's mom. Sarah's mom didn't want to spend even a day without him. It is remarkable how much she has changed. Her love for Stefan is limitless. I don't think she even loved Shane this much. We bought Sarah's parents a new house close to ours, so her mom can come and spend time with Stefan whenever she wants. I think she is truly regretting the way she treated Sarah, and she wants to make it up to her. Even though Sarah's mom volunteered to take care of Stefan, Sarah decided to take a break from her work until Stefan at least starts schooling. So, she only does some part-time lecturing. So that's what happened during the past 6 years. Yes, it has been 6 years, but all this time felt like just 6 days. When you are happy, time flies super fast, right? After putting Stefan to sleep, at night, I went to our bedroom. Sarah came from the bathroom at the same time. She was wearing just a bathrobe. She smiled at me and went to the dressing table. I was staring at her reflection from the mirror. Her natural beauty can still amaze me even after staying by her side for so many years. She is still the most beautiful woman for me. Why, she asked, smiling at my reflection. Without saying anything, I walked up to her and put my arms around her. She giggled. "What do you think about giving our little bunny a sister?" I asked, kissing her gently. "What? Stefan is just 3 years," she replied, laughing. "That's what I am also saying. He is 3 whole years old. He is a big boy now. So he needs a little sister," I said, continuing kissing her neck. "We have to get up early, tomorrow is a big day," she whispered. "We are used to sleeping late and get up early, don't we?" As a woman, those were great assets she had. But after Stefan was born, she decided she should breastfeed him. She did exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. Also, she breastfed Stefan, whenever he needs until he became 2 years old. She never refused to feed him. Now, after 2 years of breastfeeding, her breasts don't look attractive as past. But for me, those sagging breasts are the signs of her pure love towards me and my son. Whenever I touch them or see them, my heart fills with love and respect for her. She is the mother of my son, and she is the best mother any kid can ask for. Also, she is the perfect wife any man can have. I slowly removed her bathrobe and turned her to me. God! She is gorgeous, and she is mine. That night we made love slowly but passionately. None of us worried about going to sleep late, we were totally lost in each other's arms. The next day morning, I woke up to our alarm. She was still sleeping, cuddling to me. I felt so sad to wake her up, but what can I do? As Sarah mentioned, today is a big day. Do you know why? Sarah is going to be a bridesmaid, and I am going to be the best man. Also, our little Stefan is going to be a page boy for the first time in his life. Can you all guess, whose wedding is that? I know most of you guessed it right. Today is the big day of my brother, Andrew. Sarah's POV Andrew is going to get married today. I am so happy for him. More than anything, I was happy because he found the perfect partner for him. I have no doubts she will keep him happy and give him the love he deserves. Can you all remember my good friend Sally? Yeah, that girl who fell in love with Luke. That girl who couldn't stop loving Luke even after she got to know he is gay. I know you haven't forgotten her. Andrew is going to marry Sally. Strange, right? Well, so many things can happen for 6 years. Sally was heartbroken after knowing she has no chance with Luke. So right after graduation, she moved from the town. However, her destiny took her to the exact city, where Andrew also moved to. They two met again there. They both were going through an almost similar situation, and having each other gave them comfort. So, after staying like friends and sharing all the happiness and sadness, they decided to level up their relationship. The wedding mass started. Jake and I were standing next to our beautiful couple together with our little handsome and the pretty flower girl. Ah! Forgot to tell you about her. She is Tyara, daughter of Marina. Yes, Marina came and apologized to Jake right after he got discharged from the hospital. After 2 years she got married, and now she has this beautiful daughter who is 3.5 years old. After Andrew and Sally recite their vows in front of God, it was time for them to leave the church. We all were standing and signing hymns. Luke and Shane also came to us and stood beside us. They both were holding hands. They look wonderful together. In this church right now gathered all the people I love with my life. Andrew and his beautiful wife, Sally. My parents. Jake's parents. Luke and Shane. Also, my Jake and my little prince Stefan. My eyes quickly traveled to all the people. They all look so happy. We all had suffered enough in our lives. Life was so unfair to us sometimes. Each and every one of us had our own story, our own set of problems to deal with. We made the right choices. We made the wrong choices. Sometimes we loved each other, sometimes we hated each other. But today as a family, we all get together. We all are happy, and I believe we will never make any choice to hurt each other. We will always stand in unity for each other. If I talk about me, my life has become a fairy tale. I have everything I ever wished for, even more than that. Jake's love for me is growing bigger each and every day. I didn't know how a person can love his wife this much. He is the best husband, also the best dad in this whole world. A few years before, I was a girl nobody wanted. It was him who changed my life. It is after he came to my life, I started to get loved and cared. My parents, my brother, all of them started to love me after Jake came to my life. Indeed, my parents gave me birth, but it is Jake who gave life to me. He is such a gentleman. When he started to love me, he had everything, but I had nothing. Still, he didn't give up on me or try to cheat me even from a thought. I think that's how his loving parents brought him up. So, one day I want my Stefan to be a gentleman like his dad. I want to bring him up the same way Jake's parents brought him up. I will teach my son to love without any conditions and commit to the people he loves with his whole heart. I picked up Stefan in my arms. He is indeed the crown of Jake's and my love. Placing a kiss on Stefan's rosy cheeks, I held Jake's hand. Jake looked at me and smiled. Then he put his arm around me, pulling both me and Stefan closer to him. This is my happy place. With my little crown cuddled to my chest and my Jake having his strong arm around both of us. The end.